Cameroon police in Yaoundé brutalized striking workers of Lebus. They punch and drag them on police pick-up citizens they were trained to protect. In this edition of the newscast, we shall be taking you to the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where there was a protest demonstration this day, where over 100 former workers of Lebus were demanding payment of salary arrears and retirement benefit. Also, SDF MPs rubbish a meeting that took place between the CPDM MPs and some members of the Common Law Lawyers Association in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. They have called for the strict respect of the bi-juru system in the country. This and more will be yours in this edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast. Good evening, I am Fohansin Chanji. We are broadcasting live from Douala, Cameroon, Equinox Central News Desk. You're watching the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. We take you to the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where police punch and drag some striking workers of Lebus. In the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where over 100 of them staged a protest demonstration blocking some major highways in Yaoundé, paralyzing circulation. Our reporter, Roland Akong, tells us more.
Scores of workers of Lebus Transport Company are arrested Wednesday by security forces in Yaoundé following a strike action by the workers demanding payment of salary arrears and unpaid dues owed them by the transport company for several months. We did not succeed in our attempts to know where the angry workers were transported to by security forces. The 125 workers blocked the highway with their buses, demanding payment of 400 million of francs CFA owed them by the government since the closure of the company. The action by the workers of Lebus blocked circulation in the town of Yaoundé for several hours, forcing many residents to go on foot. This strike action comes on the heels of the announcement by government of a new company to take over urban transport in Yaoundé from Lebus. The angry workers have expressed fears that they will not be recruited by the new urban transport company.
And this time around, we talk of the aftermath of another strike action that took place last week, where common law lawyers of the Northwest and Southwest regions have met with some members of the National Assembly to discuss the way forward and possible end of the strike action, which is 1 month old now. Presided by Deputy House Speaker Honorable Emilia Lifaka, the Lego Mines and People's representatives came out with 15 recommendations to be implemented as part of measures to end marginalization. Among others, they called for a parliamentary commission of inquiry to probe into the recent brutality on lawyers by placing Bamenda and Boya, the creation of a law school, creation of a common law bench at the Supreme Court, and creation of common law department in Enam, and inclusion of lawyers of both legal systems into the National Judicial Council. They equally request the immediate lifting of the ban on the Noella, the Mela, and immediate compensation of victims. No opposition member of parliament was present. And after yesterday's meeting between common law lawyers and some Anglophone MPs at the National Assembly, today Cameroon's main opposition party, the SDF, has rubbished the meeting held between CPDM MPs and some common law lawyers. They have accused MPs of manipulating the objectives of the crisis and strongly warned that the protests will continue if problems faced by Anglophone lawyers are not solved. And the SDF 15 of the MPs of the Social Democratic Front Party of the English Extraction signed a 4-page document that was circulated today on the media. Now we take you to our human interest page. A young man in his early 20s has been arrested by police officers in the Lokpom neighborhood here in Douala 5 municipality. Kwam Wilfred was arrested after indulging on several crimes. Our reporter Smart Njikan Gabriel tells us more.
Pay chaque jour ils sont payés.
These items, which were taken away from their real owners by this 20-year-old boy, Kwam Wilfred, are gradually returning to their owners. In effect, on the night of Sunday breaking Monday, Kwam Wilfred and colleague stole from the residence of Mr. Esoki Mukala, who had once employed them. As if that wasn't enough, the boys on Tuesday visited their sister-in-law. In her absence, they gang raped an 18-year-old girl before making away with several items. Hoping to return after transporting the first set of stolen items, the 18-year-old girl, who had raised an alarm, made neighbors to follow the taxi. Unfortunately, it was only Kwam Wilfred who was arrested by the police, while the leader managed to escape. Investigations are ongoing to track down the runaway leader of the gang.
Kankepre, there shouldn't be more than 3 books per subject in Cameroon. The proposal has been tabled before members of parliament. It has been proposed by members of the book sector, especially as stakeholders who met yesterday in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, from where Roland Akon reports.
Some school pupils and students in Cameroon are still unable to carry their bags to school due to numerous textbooks inside their school bags. Some subjects have at least 8 textbooks. The textbooks are expensive for parents to buy and sometimes rare to find. These are some of the problems MPs are discussing with stakeholders of the textbook sector in Yaoundé.
When I was going to school, I used to have 1 textbook, and the textbook was of quality that carried me for the whole year. But now the quality of textbooks which we have now do not have the test of time, in that they don't last and the quality is not there. They are very expensive and they are printed late. When parents have their money and they want to buy textbooks when schools are opening, the books are not there. So I feel that that committee, which is the Ministry of Education, the minister has to supervise to know that the books are supposed to be printed at this time so that the parents can have, and let the children to be able to read these books when they need them, because when they need them, they are not available.
The Publishers Association is quick to acknowledge the problems.
The problems that people complain about in Cameroon rightfully is that books are not available all the times and in quantities that are required. Secondly, that they have changed a bit more frequently. And thirdly, that they are expensive. Now, these things happen because there are too many books per subject. Now you have 8 books per subject. Every publisher of the 8 can only produce the volume that he thinks he can sell. And since he's not sure whether the book will be changed the next year, he produces a small quantity because he's sharing the market with 8 people and he's not sure when that will change. Now, when you produce in publishing, when you print small, the cost of production goes high, the print cost is high. So automatically the price of the book will be a little higher because you're 8 people and you're going for a small market share. They call it economy of scale, right?
But also proposes solutions to get rid.
So if you can take away the final recommendation, final selection from the 3 books that the National Book Commission should select per subject, you take that recommendation away from, final selection away from the classroom, you bring it at the level of the division, and then a commission is constituted at the divisional level where the inspectorate, the divisional inspectorate, associates other stakeholders at the level of division and selects a book there and chooses one of the 3 books. That one book will be used for the whole division. So we have about 54 divisions in the country. All publishers will have opportunities to be selected here and there for different subjects in a couple of divisions. And when they add all of that up, each of them will have a market share that would allow them to produce a volume that can enable the price to go lower. And they would have saved on marketing costs and on that that volume, the gain on that volume as well. Automatically, it would improve the price of the book and it will improve the availability of books in the marketplace.
The importance of books in a society cannot be undermined. Stakeholders are proposing 3 books per subject in Cameroonian schools.
We now take you to the University milieu. We'll make our very first stop in the University of Chang, West Region of Cameroon, where the rector of that university, Professor Roger Nanfoso Safak, has called on students as well as staff of the institution to indulge in the collective dynamism policy in order to achieve their goals this 2016-2017 academic year. This was during the official ceremony to launch the new school year. Jacques Ekwekinge.
The University of Chang has opted to continue with the policy of collective dynamism in order to obtain greater achievements during the 2016-2017 academic year, which kicked off since October 6, 2016. The ambition to continue chasing their goals was re-echoed by the rector of that institution, Professor Roger Nanfoso Safak, during the ceremony to officially launch the new academic year.
We decided to introduce in this university a concept called collective dynamism. The idea is just to give to each of our three components in the University of Cameroon a fair place and relevant consideration.
And since the implementation of this policy some 2 years ago, the fallouts have already started being enjoyed by students, staff and officials of the university.
Because we were together, now our university, we can say that our students, our staff, our lecturers can benefit from health insurance. Today, we have just signed with the National Credit Fund an agreement in order to help all our colleagues, either staff or lecturers, to build their own home.
Providing quality education to the thousands of students that count the University of Chang is very primordial, as was reiterated by the rector.
Most of classrooms are equipped and very well equipped in order to modernize the way our staff, our lecturers decide to lecture.
Reasons why the new students had to take an oath during the ceremony to respect the rules and regulations of the University of Chang.
Now from the University of Chang in the West region, we take you to the University of Buea, UB, the place to be in the southwest region of Cameroon, precisely at the regional capital, Buea, where the Vice Chancellor says the problems existing between the Higher Education Ministry and the National Medical Council must not be extended into the University of Buea. Dr. Nalova Lyonga was speaking in Buea as she warned medical council officials during an oath-taking ceremony to send off 90 medical doctors from the Faculty of Health Sciences. Derek Jatu.
The University of Buea Faculty of Health Sciences is today organizing a catch-up ceremony after the Cameroon Medical Council boycotted the July graduation ceremony of this fourth batch of medical doctors.
We remember that they graduated last July, and in fact at that very moment, very solemn, they were supposed to take their oath, Hippocratic oath, but the Cameroon Medical Association couldn't be available at that time. That's why we have organized a catch-up ceremony today.
The Cameroon Medical Council had some disagreement with the Ministry of Higher Education, reason why Professor Pauline Nalova Lyonga, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea, in her address, frowned at the Cameroon Medical Council, calling on the council to always settle their political wranglings with the Ministry of Higher Education, for the University of Buea was deeply hurt by their action.
Please iron out all political things that have to do with your body and the political body, so that we, the students, the teachers, are not affected by whatever clauses you have in your legal books. The University of Buea is quite ready to work according to the norms.
Finally, before the Vice Chancellor and the academic staff, the Cameroon Medical Council officiated the Hippocratic Oath.
I solemnly pledge myself to concentrate myself to the service of humanity.
I solemnly pledge myself to consecrate my life to the service of humanity.
Professor Ngowe Maxelen, Dean of the University of Buea Faculty of Health Sciences, comes back on the significance of such an oath.
Swearing the Hippocratic oath give to them the capacity to work as physicians anywhere in the world.
90 in number, they were reminded to carry in them the oath they have taken.
In the second part of this news, my guest tonight is Ako John. With him, we shall be looking at the recent strike action undertaken here in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, as well as in Bamenda and Aboya. Why must the police use force on peaceful protesters? We shall equally be looking at the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo with Joseph Kabila. Stay with us. Good evening once again. This is Talking Point. My guest tonight is John Ako, a member of the civil society. Good evening.
Evening, Mr. Chanje.
It's a pleasure having you tonight.
Mine too.
Now, you watch a report there by Roland Akong where over 125 workers of Lobus, a defunct intra-urban transport agency in Yaoundé, were demanding the payment of their arrears as well as retirement benefit. You watch how police use force, the punch, and drag them on the pickup. Does this speak well of Cameroon?
In fact, at the very eve of Cameroon hosting an international event, the Female African Cup of Nations, and you find such scenes at the political capital. It is neither new or strange to Cameroonians that at any time workers are taken on the streets to demand for better working conditions, for pay, which we know it is a right. In fact, Cameroon equally has been a member of the international community. In fact, he has signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We are equally conversant with the rules of labor in Cameroon. In fact, the 1992 Labor Code has given a worker the right to public protest. But then, I will tell you that since the unitary state in 1972, up to now, there is always an aspect on the side of the government, the fear that if people are given the right to express themselves, then the government's stability will be at stake. And most often than not, Cameroonians presently live under fear and tension. But then, who are these people who are sent to always chase them away? The police officers. In fact, these are the very group of people who cannot make better demands for their own working condition. We have seen them several times. For them to claim an advantage from the government, they instead pass behind, taking bribes of all forms and all nature from citizens. These are young Cameroonians. I think a peaceful protest, that which is conducted by workers, it's a right. It is a right, and what police officers in many other advanced democracies they do is to monitor that this strike doesn't go above the rims of the well-defined rules of the state, tempting with public destructions of property or maybe public peace. But then, if they are expressing their grievances, there is what we call dialogue. And social dialogue is one of the instruments for any working environment. In fact, it is even a working instrument for all democracies. We should equally, or instead, listen to their worries and try to appease. We have seen a lot of this. We are talking of the Anglophone lawyer strike in the northwest and the southwest region.
I was about coming to that. The treatment method on the lawyers.
On the lawyers, in fact, this is not speaking well for our nation. A country which we think 60 years after independence still live within some sorts of tyrannism or autocracy, where individuals feel that their own decision is better off and that the citizens have no right to express their mind.
But do you have the impression that all what is happening, the action by the police, gendarme, and the army is coming from A to D? Do you have the impression?
Yeah, it is not like an impression. They were trained to do so. They were, in fact, it's one of their modus operandi, meaning they operate by force. There is no dialogue in Cameroon, and that in Cameroon, whenever civilians make demands, they should be ready to face sanctions. We have seen that in many...
We know that the president is a peaceful, loving man. President Paul Biya is a peaceful, loving man.
Yes, but then...
Do not give such instructions for police to brutalize protesters.
I'm telling you that the peace we enjoy in Cameroon does not mean the absence of arms. Today, we have declared peace, not just the use of weapons, but then peace too can be within the settled mind of the citizen. Are Cameroonians living in peace, if not the absence of arms? We ask the question. There are a lot of things of recent to tell you that Cameroonians are no longer comfortable with the system. In fact, the regime in Yaoundé is getting tired and fake in all its operations. And so Cameroonians start thinking like, it is almost one time we'll be talking of the signs of a failed state In recent Cameroon history, there are a lot of upheavals, there are a lot of the disturbances which we have noticed, and you will see at any time some of those disturbances come out from the civil society, the government will always repress or suppress them by force. It is not accepted. We should allow peaceful protest. We should allow or respect the human right or the human person as an entity of the state. If you wish the state to develop, you cannot do without human right. In fact, the United Nations Declaration made it is unavoidable in any democracy to suppress the basic rights of humans. One of these is the right to strike. The right to strike is a basic right. If you are not comfortable, considering that such acts are done peacefully and without the use of force, and instead the government should come to you, then institute what we call social dialogue. In fact, this is the basic rule for a state to develop. And I will tell you that if not of the integration we had far in 1962 or 1961, I will tell you that social dialogue has still been recognized in many Cameroonian institutions, including the constitution. And so we always have a problem when the government failed to implement some of those laws that exist. We know that in Cameroon, what will they do? They can't do anything. They will always make the noise and they will stay quiet. And so at the time we are thinking that an event is coming, that is why you see the police and the military are now, in fact, beating a father of other parents, other children is a problem. You, as a police officer, what are your rights? What do you do as a civil protection? You are there to protect civilians. You are not there to torture them. We have seen in many regions, people have been sent to prison for torturing civilians without reasons. But in Cameroon, I think it is a right. We have seen the 2008 uprising. Many were beaten, many are missing. No report. A lot of it, the government will tell you that they will make findings on the issue, and Cameroonians have never been aware of the results of these findings.
All right. What is happening in Cameroon might not be far from what is happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo, or what might happen, even though we're not wishing them ill luck, but we know there is a tense atmosphere in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The President Joseph Kabila came out yesterday in front of the parliament and said he's going to respect the country's constitution, but he didn't come out clear if he will not actually amend the constitution to allow him stand again.
It is not a matter of amending. We have a problem in Africa, the problem of power. When people taste power, they don't want to leave power. But then I said, if a country needs to develop, we need to respect state institutions. If we want Africa to advance to the next period within the next 10 years, let those who are in power respect the institution of the state. A country is not built on an individual. A country is more better off when the institutions are strong. You imagine now that within the Democratic Republic of Congo, elections have been pushed forward. In fact, to 2018. These elections were supposed to be held next month. And you can imagine the frustration of the people in Congo Democratic. A lot of things had happened. I was even embarrassed that the same president, after signing a series of conventions with some opposition leaders that they should allow and then participate into the government, now they are going to share government when there are no elections. It is controversial.
The prime minister will come from the opposition.
Yes, that the prime minister should come from the... What is happening that we cannot organize election? Why do we always like, turning around things which don't even yield fruits? Then again, the same person presenting himself before Congress to tell them that he will leave to respect the rules of the Constitution. We don't know to what extent. Is it a statement made just to cajole the opposition, or is it coming from the mind of the president? He would have been openly clear that I will not stand for the next election, and even so, that the elections will be organized next month, as previewed by the text. But then you have already shifted the election to 2018, and you are presenting a speech behind or before the parliament and telling them you respect state institutions. How far is this statement true? Okay. Is this not a fallacy? We are still at the 21st century. Congo, I said, Congo is one of the richest and most powerful economic country in Africa. But when you go to statistically, more than 80% of Congolese live in abject poverty, because this wealth have been amassed or suppressed by a few class of persons.
And it is the only African country with a great number of peacekeeping forces from the United Nations due to spate of violence in that country. It was a pleasure being with you, Ako John.
Mine too, Hansen, we will still be together.
It was equally a pleasure being with you in this day's edition of the 6 p.m. Prime Time newscast on Equinox Television. Thanks for watching. The entire team join me to say good night.